Hi everyone, and welcome to another video where I spill the tea on a tarot deck. This week I am very excited to be looking at the Buffy tarot deck. My name is Debbie and I am from Spill the Tea Leaf Readings and More. I do tarot card readings as well as tea leaf readings, and if you're interested in reaching out for one of those, please comment below, message me, or email me at info@spillthetealeaf.com. All right, so this is one of the newer decks that I have purchased. I actually pre-ordered this a while ago, but it arrived only about a month ago. And I was very excited because I had been waiting for this. And considering that the show has been off the air since 2003, which saying that out loud makes me feel very old, um, makes me realize that in some ways I've been waiting for this deck a lot longer than just a year. Here it is, and I'm so happy to have it. So let's take a look. We'll start with the box. It's a nice collector's box. And it's hard to tell when you're not in person, but this is a little bit 3D. You can kind of tell the way the light is shining on it. It's not, it's kind of embossed, maybe is a better word for it. So it has some dimension, which is pretty cool. And I don't know that I've seen that on another tarot box. So I like that. Up, and it has a pull string, and it also has all of the four suits, pictures of them all around this box. You may have seen on the box that it says tarot deck and guidebook. And I'm sure you can tell just from looking that there is a guidebook right in front of us here, and I will look at that after we go through all of the cards. So starting with the major arcana, we have the Fool, who is Xander, which just feels oh so fitting. Willow as a magician. I love that Tara is a high priestess. I'm really glad they made her the high priestess and not Willow. Drusilla as the empress is both fitting and super weird. I'm still figuring it out, but I love it. I think it's great. Buffy as the emperor, which it feels like a not traditional way to go about this card, but it's also the best choice. And of course, Giles as the Hierophant. My one thing for this is part of me is like, I wish he were the emperor and the Watchers Council were the Hierophant, but that's okay. And the Watchers Council as a whole isn't part of this deck, and I don't think Wesley is either. So having Giles, especially if you think of him in the first 2.5 seasons of Buffy, he really is more Hierophant than Emperor at that point. So it's fitting. The Lovers, and it's from the musical episode. This is the only Cordelia card. And I know she's only in the first 3 seasons, but I feel like justice for Cordelia. She was such a big part of it. And having her as a Chariot card almost feels like a cheat because it really means that it's her car more than her in some ways that is the actual Chariot. Although I do think that Cordelia epitomizes the traits of this card, but I wish there was more Cordelia in this deck. I like Donna's strength. Oz as the Hermit is perfect. This one is interesting, having the first Slayer as the Wheel of Fortune. I like it. I wasn't expecting it though. This is, I believe, the only Angel card. So I'm sure people are now thinking I'm going to say Justice for Angel the same way I said Justice for Cordelia. But look, I'm not really a big Angel fan. I liked him more when he got his own show. I am, however, surprised that he's only on this one card. That's a lie. He's on another card, but he's not. This is his only like featured card, which is a little weird. The other card he's in also has Buffy. Spike, Hangman. The Gentlemen are Death, which, I mean, there's so many villains that could have been Death that this is really an interesting choice. But I like the Gentleman. Everyone likes the Gentleman, so it's nice that they're featured. Joyce is Temperance. Dark Willow as the devil. Considering that whole addiction storyline, that makes perfect sense to me. The tower that Glory built is the tower. Kendra is the star. I want to say justice for Kendra, but more justice for Kendra on the show rather than in these cards, right? Faith is the moon, which I love because there's that whole episode where they're in the classroom talking about Othello and talking about how Iago is a reflection of Othello and his shadow side, and I can't not think of that when I see this card because the moon is a reflection of the sun and it's not as light out as it is when it's day and the sun is out, but it doesn't make the moon any less special than the sun. So I like that Faith is the moon. And of course, Buffy is on the sun card, but she's not alone. It's really about the amulet and that moment she has with Spike. Anya is Judgment, of course. And I really love that Prom Buffy is the world. If I need to explain it to you, maybe we can't be friends. All right, let's look at these suits. So, scythes are swords, and I kept these cards in the order that they were here. So, they go king, and the rest of the core cards down, and then go back to ace. So, Mayor is the king. Jenny is queen. One thing I will say, these cards, you can tell right now, they're kind of sticking a little bit, which I don't love. Glory is the knight. Amy Madison is the page. Now, this is interesting because this moment, I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I have to go back and watch The Witch, but I feel like this moment is actually Amy's mom possessing her. So I did look in the guidebook for clarification on which character this actually was, Amy or Catherine. Of course, it would make more sense for it to be Amy, but knowing the show as well as I do, I thought maybe I was wrong. And it is Amy, but I still think if you look at this moment in the show, it's actually Catherine possessing Amy. But either way, that shows you just how much of a Buffy dork I am that I even had to question that. All right, so the one card with Ben in it. Poor Ben. I know people don't like Ben. He made a lot of bad decisions. But I saw the potential there. Not romantically for Buffy, but in other ways. So these cards are thick, which is also a problem that I'm having because they stick together. So sometimes I'm like, is this sticking together? Or is it just that it's a thick card? I should point out Ethan. It's great that Ethan has his own card. Maggie Walsh. I love that a scene from Nightmares is basically on the Nightmare card. Yeah, see, here's Angel again. All right. Chalices, which of course is cups. Callie's on a couple cards. I love that this is William before he became Spike. And Clem gets his own card. I also really love this card for partnerships. I think, I mean, reversed, it makes perfect sense to me too, having these two work together and then how tremendously bad it gets and how that fall apart, I think is like, it really epitomizes this card. So I love that. I love, they do such a good job with this. I question some of the cards, but even then, like, I kind of see where they're going. So this card just feels really thick. Like, part of me is wondering if some of the cards are thicker than others, which they shouldn't be, and yet. All right. I'm trying really hard, and I've kind of already failed, but I'm trying really hard to not name all the characters as we go through because, man, I'm such a dork. I love this. I will point out, I also really love that Nikki is the Queen of Pentacles. I think she is the epitome of that card, and the fact that her son, is the king is kind of neat too. Riley, he really is a Knight of Pentacles. I'm glad he's there. I love that the potential slayers get in the mix here too. Although it's funny because, they were only in one season, so it's kind of funny that there's at least two potential slayers that make it in the cards, and Cordelia only gets one. But what are you gonna do? Wow, these cards are not liking me today. Oh, well, while I'm trying to figure this out, I'll say I love this card too. The magic box is perfect for this card. I mean, they really did do a phenomenal job, I think, with most of these. So kudos to the creators, whose names I don't know off the top of my head, and they're only found in the guidebook, I think. So I have to look to give them credit. I think this card is also perfectly fitting. I do question Dracula. I did look in the guidebook for this one because I was like, what? But the idea is he has everything because he has all the power and therefore all the money. And I don't know. I disagree with it a little bit. I also think it's funny that Dracula makes it in. But, I don't hate that he's in it. It's just kind of amusing. Especially when Cordelia's only in one card. Okay, so Xander is the king of stakes, which of course is wands. Kennedy is, I know people hate Kennedy, so I'm sure some people hate that she has her own card. I love that Harmony has her own card. See, look at all those potentials. All right. So those are the cards. I can't think of a character that wasn't included that I feel should have been, which is good. I'm surprised at some of the characters that made it in. And I'm surprised that some characters got more cards than others. But for a show that was 7 years long, they did a really good job of representing what was important, I think. So I appreciate it. All right, guidebook. Here's a table of contents that's pretty complete. They have a meeting your deck essentially, and like talks about cleansing and things like that. Introduction to major arcana and minor arcana. They also try to use language like the deets here and the 411, and sometimes it works and sometimes it fails, and you're like, wow, it's really clear that you're an old person trying to sound cool. No offense to the creators. I just feel like the language wasn't used as well as it could have been. So you can see they do an intro to the suits. Then I also just love the pictures here. I know I don't remember the creator's name, but I know that that person works in the comic book, so I feel like that has something to do with this as well. So each major arcana card tells you the name of the card, the character that's on it, a little bit about the card, and then upright and reversed, and has a nice full color image of the card to look at, which is nice. And then when you get to minor arcana, you still have an image of the card. It's smaller, and it just goes right into upright or reverse. But you can see those meanings there's a lot there. So it's nice. And it doesn't completely tell you what the meaning is. It leaves a little bit of room for interpretation, which is also nice. But it helps you figure out, maybe in some cases why these images were chosen for the card, which I also appreciate because I did look and check a few of them, as I already admitted to. I should also mention as I'm flipping through this that I did do a deck interview. And this deck sees me for who I am, wants to help me. It wants to be here to help me heal and help me grow and help me learn. And I really appreciate that. Because honestly, that's what the TV show does for me as well. It was on in my formative years. Buffy started my freshman year of high school. Angel ended my senior year of college. The Buffyverse really got me through those 8 years, and of course, Buffy was on for 7 of those. So, I grew with the show. I learned from the show. I go back and I see things differently. I don't know. It's nice. So I feel like it makes sense that that's how the deck interview ended up. So this gives you some information on how to read, and then it gives you some spreads. There is a deck interview spread in here. I didn't use this one, but perhaps I will at some point. These are definitely in theme. They have one that's Prophecy Girl, that's for the next 6 months. A World Without Shrimp, which, I mean, what other deck is going to have anything similar to A World Without Shrimp spread? And this, talks about maybe what you're missing in your life. 5 by 5. See, this is when like language is a thing. Your current sitch. Okay, they use that word on the show. That's fine. The obstacle getting you strung out. I feel like now they're just looking for lingo to use, and it's not what would have been said in Buffy at all. But I like that it's a little check-in spread for you. And then, if I can flip the page, here we have information about the author and the illustrator. So Casey Gilly, who does work on the Buffy comic books, and the illustrator Karl James Mountford. So those are the creators. I think they did an excellent job. I will say I think this is really heavily purple, and like I don't know, the design on it isn't what I would expect. I don't know what I expected, but it's a little weird. But but the artwork on the cards themselves is good in that I recognize the characters, and B, in so many cases, it's very clear not only who the character is, but what the moment from the show is. I talked about the one with Amy and wondering if it was really her mom as Amy or not. But like I see the image and I know exactly what moment from the show it is. Looking at this card, for example, a Buffy fan knows exactly what that is from, for example. And it's not just, a picture of Giles in a funny outfit. So they did a really good job with this deck. I feel really positive about this deck, and I'm just really happy that I have it and that I can now use it. If you are interested in getting a tarot reading with this deck, please let me know. I'm happy to do one for you with this or another deck. You can message me below. You can private message me, or you can email me at info@spillthetealeaf.com. Please subscribe to my videos. I'm going to have something new coming up very soon. Maybe not next week, but the week after for sure. So if you're subscribed, you will know and you'll get those videos for something a little bit different. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.